What's up, guys? My name is Jason Wharton from Salisbury, Maryland. Everybody calls me JBUG, and this is my 1965 Volkswagen. So I picked this bug up about 2 years ago from a good friend of mine, Eddie, in Jersey. Traded one of my things off for it. So it's a 65 bug. It's got a 4-inch narrowed front beam in it, air in the front, static in the rear. Disc brake conversion kit, loose nut Safari front windshield. It's got the Randar pop-out window extenders on it. Basic 1600cc motor with dual carburetors. All around, just a real stock original car. Probably been sprayed at least once, one respray. It's got a lot of stories showing through. You gotta love the patina, tell the story. All around, just a really fun car. I'm really enjoy driving. So how did I get into Volkswagens? What's my VW story? Probably mid-90s. I was 13 or 14. This is before I got my driver's license. I took an interest in cars, and man, I saw a couple Volkswagens around town that were customized. That caught my attention. And from there, went to the grocery store. And I saw hot VWs in a VW Trends magazine, and wow, I was blown away. I'm like, these are cool cars. I gotta have one. My parents had owned some in the past, and yeah, so 1994, 95, my parents bought me my first car and hid it in the garage and surprised me with it. It was a 69 Beetle, and I worked on that for probably a year before I got my driver's license. Went, ground up on it and amazingly got it running and driving. I went to my first Volkswagen show in 1995. It was a Manassas bug out, and I never forget it. You always see these write-ups on the car shows in the magazines, and they do not do it justice. I just remember walking up and seeing people walking out the front gate back to the parking lot, and they're carrying fenders and bumpers and wheeling out motors on carts, and it was mind-blowing, and I haven't even got in the gate yet. But once I was inside, show cars, and saw my first Volkswagen swap meets and Volkswagen drag racing, and I was just hooked. Wow. From there, I've just always owned them. They've been fun cars, easy to work on, and you can't drive it without smiling. It's just a great car. So how many have I owned? How many Volkswagens? Wow. So, like I said, I got my first car in 95 and worked on it. And there's just something about Volkswagens. You just don't own one. I became obsessed with going out on the weekends and driving around and looking through backyards. And if I saw one, I went knocking on the door. And a lot of times I'd come home with 2 or 3 Volkswagens. I'm sure there could be worse things to be addicted to. But yeah, I'd buy them up, rescue them, bring them home, work on them, learn about them, make them roadworthy, and then send them off to a new home, make a little cash on the side. I'd say by 2005, I probably had owned over 100. And then this is 2020. It's gotta be well over 200 air-cooled, water-cooled Volkswagens have come through that I've worked on and sent out to new owners and new homes. So Strictly VW's Auto Club. I started that back in 1998. Prior to that, we were doing these VW cruise nights at a local restaurant, Nacho Pete's, that I happened to be working at the time. So Nacho Pete's and Beanie's Cafe was next door. They loved having these events every month. It's a great group of people. we were averaging, 10 to 20 cars a month, Volkswagens, that would show up. So I said, I think the interest is there. Let's start a club. So we started strictly VWs. Since then, it's been an amazing time. We're a little less like a club and a little more like a family. No dues or fees, just a great group of people that enjoy getting together and talking Volkswagens and working on each other's cars and doing events together. It's been an amazing adventure since we started that. So yeah, I've been pinstriping for about 15 years now. How it got started. My grandfather was a sign painter, did some pinstriping back in the day. He had a sign shop, Casper Sign Studios here in Salisbury, Maryland. So I've always had kind of interest in that. 15 years ago, I built like a rat rod VW, satin black Rust-Oleum paint job on it. A good friend of mine, he had a bug about the same and some motorcycles, and he's like, you know what? I bet you could pick up this pinstriping pretty quick. So yeah, I remember he gave me some one-shot paint. It was salmon pink and a Mac brush, and I spent a couple weeks pulling lines and curves and designs on glass just to practice. And I took the lunge and did my car, the doors and the engine lid and some pinstriping here and there. I did his car, and after a couple of shows, it blew up. Like, everybody wanted their car done. So truly been blessed with how busy I've been with pinstriping in the last 15 years. Really love slinging paint on people's custom cars and motorcycles and doing canvases and toolboxes and whatever people bring me to do. I absolutely, it's a lot of fun. So what's my favorite thing about the VW scene? 100%, other than a car, because a car makes you happy, it makes you smile. That's a VW thing. It's the people. I've dabbled in other cars, American Muscle and rat rods, mini trucks, motorcycles, and don't get me wrong, they're all great people, but I've never experienced anything like VW people. That's a whole different level. We go to these shows and events, and it doesn't matter how old you are, your race, religion, politics. We're at these events, it all gets put aside, and we're all family. Shoot, if you've never been to one or experienced it, even if you don't have a Volkswagen, come hang out at a Volkswagen event or the cruise nights or whatever and experience it. I think you'd really enjoy it. VW people are just great. So future plans for my bug. I got 4 kids, and they are all currently working on Volkswagens. So I'm helping them out with that. And my fiance's got a 67 bus, and I'm working on that with her, trying to get it finished up. So once all that's finished up, yeah, I mean, last week I was just considering this winter maybe blowing it apart and re-going through everything, making it a little more reliable for the next show season. 2020 was kind of a miss. We didn't get too many shows in, but next year, I'd love to be able to drive it to farther distant shows. So we'll see. Stay tuned.